Hi everyone and welcome back to SGTV. So today we're in Melton Mowbray with Fred from East Goscote Electrics, and Fred has invited us over here today because Fred and his team are going to be converting this old Victorian grammar school into multiple apartments, and they've chosen to use some of the products from Scolmore Group, so some from Click, some from Ovia and ESP. So Fred, if you can take us inside, we're going to take a look at some of the products you've chosen to use.
Yeah, let's go. So we're going to have it. These are going to be the continuously open doors. We're going to have the ESP door entry system here. So for when people come in, buzz the flats, then another set of doors that will be locked and only open by the flats or a key fob.
Okay, so these are going to be security doors,
yeah, but they'll be open 24/7.
Okay.
And then as we come through, we've got obviously the slim deco round fittings we're going to be fitting, all the emergency ones.
So that's the Evos. Yeah. The Evos by Ovia. So a lot of the time, a lot of people are sticking them outside. So what's made you want to put them in this?
The reason being, easy maintenance, easier to get to, rather than trying to get a big ladder right up to the top.
Yeah.
Easier maintenance on either wall, which was designed and spec'd by Ovia, was the best option to do.
Always inventive ways of using the product.
Easy, like I say, maintenance.
Yeah.
At least no one's really got to have a tall, long ladder.
Yeah.
To get into.
And that's just future planning. That's what you guys are doing in the offices,
yeah.
planning this kind of thing.
Yeah. And as we go through further on, we'll have more fittings across there. They're just building the stutter currently as we speak now. Up here, I mentioned earlier on about the fire hole. So each hole will be masticed, taped, and photographed for future uses.
And that's due to the nature of this building, isn't it? With it being an old Victorian building, you've not got the pleasure of just running through nice easy walls and studs.
No.
And that's down to fire regulations. Fire regulations,
yeah. So everything, like any hole made, is filled, documented by an external company, and it all goes into a file for the building control.
I imagine that's a lot of extra planning and work when you're just trying to even quote and plan these jobs.
It's mainly try and reduce your holes. Normally you just pepper and just keep going, but you have to methodical think, how can I get from there, only use certain holes and sizes as well. And
I imagine not only for you, but for the other teams, like the brickies and everyone who are actually planning the rooms in here, converting this from classrooms and corridors and halls into actual fire safety corridors that are going to meet regulations and rooms, that's got to take some planning. And then you've got the hassle, it's what you do, it's what you enjoy, of planning where everything's going to go. That's got to take some head work.
Like I say, the floor level, that's been brought up quite a bit, and obviously the ceilings are coming down to try and shorten the space. If we go upstairs again, we've got obviously the Deco XL fittings that will be fitting again on the walls. We've got the sprinkler system at the top, the AOV for obviously ventilation if the fire alarm goes off again. And you can see it's quite a vast stair.
Yeah, I mean, the camera probably doesn't do it justice here because a lot of this is under dust and rubble, but this is a very grand staircase. You can imagine once all the spots are in and you've got the decos on the wall, this is going to be quite an impressive room, and hopefully we'll be able to see that in part 2 when we come back to this site at the finished phase. Then
if we show you one that's ready for second fixing, which will show then the Elucian board. This is flat 14.
So you're going to be putting the Elucian consumer unit in here then?
Obviously RCBOs and single pole SPD throughout.
Yeah, with SPD now being mandatory, you've got the single width one, so a bit of extra wiggle room on the board for you.
And then if we go into another flat that's semi-finished.
Okay.
Again, single gang light switch.
And I would add as well, with all the mode stuff, we've got the antimicrobial, antibacterial, so great for killing viruses and bacterials. That's all certified, so a great one for anywhere, especially domestic properties.
And then as we go into it, so like the bathroom, so we've got obviously the fan isolator, obviously maintenance issues in the future. We've got the downlight we've pulled out the ceilings. This one is the CTA with the controllable temperatures. So
that's the Omni V2 from Ovia. So as you say, you've got the switchable temperature. So you've got cool white, warm white, daylight, and interchangeable bezels on this one as well.
We've only spec'd just standard white, because otherwise white finish, crisp, clean. We've also got the shaver socket.
Yeah, so pretty kitted out throughout the entire entire building then.
And in the kitchen areas, we've got obviously the 2-gang cooker switch, 45 amp, just the standard mode sockets. We've opted for the Grid Pro.
Yeah.
With the reason for the fuse modules not being there is because the appliance comes already fused with a plug top. So we've got obviously the dishwasher, washing machine here, and then over here we've got the cooker hood and the fridge freezer.
Yeah, and with the Grid Pro, one of the added benefits on that is you don't need a yoke on the, I think it's 2 to 4 or 6 gang products. You'll have to correct me on that later. But for the bigger products, you do need the yoke on the back. I noticed you've also got etched modules for washing machine and dishwasher.
Yeah.
Between Mini Grid and Grid Pro, we do have a full range of pre-etched modules, such as cooker hood, waste disposal, whatever it is you need. But we also do offer in-house etching with Scolmore. So if you do need something like that within your project or property, that's something we can help with. So get in contact with us for that.
And then for the cooker space, we've gone for the 32 amp outlet plate.
And that's quite a popular one, I've heard, because I mean, you probably know this better than me. What's been so handy about that product?
Accessibility and wiring of it. It's got a nice cable clamp, neat inside, and obviously it's controlled by this single gang switch on the wall.
Okay. And you was going to take us up to, was it the mezzanine? Okay, so
again, this will be where the intercom system will sit for the video.
Oh, so the other end of the aperta one. Yeah. So this will be the monitor.
The monitor, yeah.
Where you can say, yeah, come in. No, you're not welcome. Yeah, mother-in-law, you're not coming in.
So this is one of the mezz level flats, which when we get time, we'll show you the leucine board fitted throughout. We've still got the second fixing to do, which is this is the next project to get on with.
So there's plenty to keep you busy here, though.
Yeah, it's quite hectic sometimes.
Yeah. You mentioned as well in here you're going to be putting in immersion switch.
Yeah.
So we do a lot of the heating control switches with Sangamo, who are sold through ESP, which is part of the Scolmore Group. So again, another one to look out for potential projects.
So this one is our next second fix. You can see the cables are pulled through, ready for the downlights.
Yeah.
Smoke alarms, and obviously the kitchen appliances we just looked at.
I noticed when you were talking to Neil, for those of you who don't know, Neil McManus, he's a former lecturer, actually Fred's former lecturer at Leicester College. He now works with us at Scolmore. He's done a video with Fred, so please check that one out. But one of the things they were talking about earlier was the difficulties with wiring a building like this compared to, say, some of the new builds across the road. As you know, with the new builds, your cabling's nice and simple. With this one, you can actually see the cross-section here. You've got the old 2-layer brick here, and you're having to stud off the wall with insulation.
And then stud off again, which that's where our cables will sit down. Again, like I mentioned with Neil, the cable stud we'll use throughout each stud work. You can probably see down here, that's where, there in that corner, you'll see this cable stud to try and bring the cables forward. So it's easier for plasterers, and we're not going to use ridiculously long screws.
And that also brings in the challenges of you then having to thread cable through metal studs, which with shard edges, you've then got to think about grommets and things like that, and a lot of extra precautions and decisions you've got to think about compared to,
just
say, a normal.
Builds,
but is it something you've enjoyed working on, this project?
Yeah, it's been interesting. It's nice to watch it go from a school derelict building, which, again, I did the emergency lighting and the site lighting back in 2019. I think that's when
he told me off camera before that when he was in here on his own, it was actually pretty scary, which I can't believe, to be honest.
So, and now watching it near enough completion, hopefully the next few more months we'll be finishing, tidying up, and then that's this site wrapped.
So Fred, anyway, I want to thank you for inviting us here today to Melton Mowbray. It has been an absolute pleasure. I do find buildings like this actually quite stunning. And I think I said to you earlier, it's great to see buildings like this, rather than just bulldoze a lot and start again. It is amazing to see architecture and skilled craftsmanship like this being put to use, and a new lease of life with guys like yourself coming in and putting your own mark on things and converting it into usable spaces and sizable spaces as well. That has impressed me. As I said, you come into some buildings and you're squished in thinking, you know, and these are decent sized apartments. Like, they're probably bigger than my house.
And mine put together.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you for inviting us here. As I said earlier, make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification button below. Check out some of the other videos with Fred doing the unboxing of the Elucian consumer unit. As I said earlier, talking to his former lecturer, Neil McManus from Leicester College, who is now part of the Scolmore Group. So we will see you, hopefully, in part 2, where we come back and see this place in all its finished glory.